Siempre el último jueves de cada mes. This time we have an invited guest that is coming from US, from Phoenix, Arizona, from Thunderbird School. He's going to give a small chat, I would say. Okay. We're also going to introduce, well, not introduce any new members because this month we don't have any new members. But we're going to talk about the next event that is going to be in Sitges on the 28th of July. Okay, it's an important event because we are we're doing it with co-meetings, so we're doing a shared event that normally we end up with about 100 people there. So bueno, tenemos un invitado especial que es Richard Ettenson. Viene de Phoenix, Arizona, de la Universidad de Thunderbird, a dar una breve charla sobre un poco de brand marketing. También decirles a todos, informarles que el próximo evento que tenemos es el 28 de julio en Sitges. Es un evento que hacemos en conjunto con Co-Meetings, que es una asociación de Sitges, en donde normalmente cada evento que hacemos año a año llegamos a juntar unas 100 personas. Seguro algunos recuerdan el evento blanco del año pasado o el del Palau Marichel. Entonces, bueno, el siguiente evento es el que hacemos en conjunto. Por supuesto agradecer a Idealog, a Natalie, bueno, al grupo por habernos prestado el sitio para hacer el evento. Okay, we want to thank Idealog for sharing us the place here for the event. Okay, and
sorry for the mosquitoes.
no, well, if anybody wants anti-mosquito lotion, we have that in the front desk. Okay, so yeah, I know they're well, they're hungry. So,
No estaban invitados.
yeah, so I don't know anything else. So I leave you with Richard and a small presentation.
There we go. Thanks for the kind introduction. Welcome, everyone. As was explained, I'm a professor at Thunderbird. Who here knows of Thunderbird? I know we have some. There we go. That's good. We always like to get a little brand awareness going, but not everybody knows who Thunderbird is. But I'm here for a short visit in Barcelona, working at Asadic. And I've been training the faculty there, doing a bit of seminars with faculty. And I've also had the chance to, as I say, parachute into Madrid to do work with PricewaterhouseCoopers and their executives, and also another group of executives that just returned last night. So I'm here just for a short visit, and I was kindly invited here. I'm delighted to be here at the ABC Club. And what I do, my professional activities, I'm an academic at Thunderbird. I'm a professor in marketing and brand strategy, but I'm also part of a consultancy out of New York, also doing brand strategy, a senior partner there, and I've also run a few businesses. So what I like to say is, while I'm an academic, I really have a very practical view of all the challenges you face trying to be successful, be sustainable, particularly in the business environment here today in Spain. Now, I've got a marketing background, and I've spoken to maybe 10 of you, and there's a very wide collection of industries here. But let me just get a show of hands, and I want this to be kind of interactive, so feel free to stop, ask questions, and I'll just provide some, what I'll call some small ideas, and hopefully some ideas that will make us think about your own businesses and how we might increase the underlying value of the business. But let me ask a small question. Who here, if I looked at your business card right now, would have either marketing or sales in their official job title? I know many of you are owners as well, but you'd have marketing or sales in your job title.
Now
Okay.
or in the past.
Huh?
Now or in the past.
Or even in the past, let's say. Okay, so that's a great question, in the past. And maybe about a quarter of you. Now I'm going to ask another follow-up question. Who here has found that as your career has progressed, you find yourself more and more engaged in marketing-related activities? Yeah, and usually there's not a dry eye in the house, as we say, or everyone would almost, raise their hand. So what I like to say is marketing, to my way of thinking, is a value creating activity that lends connections with customers, relationships with customers, and yet at the same time, let me ask this question: who here sees marketing as absolutely essential to the core activities of your business? I'm impressed by that, because I find in working with a lot of companies, it's top of mind in their mission statements. The CEO will talk a lot about marketing, but when it comes down to who sits around at the C-suite and has real muscle inside the organization, it's not usually the marketers. Who here would agree with that? Why do you think that is? So you all think marketing's central, but when it comes down to it, you shove it aside and you get on with real business. Why is that? I mean, you agreed with that last statement. It's not...
Too expensive.
It is expensive. In fact, by virtue of calling it expensive, it sounds like it belongs on the expense side of the financial statements versus the investment side. Okay, that might be a good comment to think about. Somebody else?
Management sees it as a support service,
Yeah, we're
not
kind
as an
of...
essential service.
Yeah, we're not essential. We're seen as a support service. I like that comment. What industry are you from? I haven't met you yet, so what industry are you from?
Robotics. Robotics.
Robotics. Oh, interesting. So your name, sir, is?
Jan.
Young, thanks for that comment, Young. I work with a lot out of the consultancy. It's interesting with the robotics because the consultancy I work with, it's called Type 2, and I'm not selling my services here, but please look up our website, right? Feel free to contact me afterwards. No, I'm joking. But the clients we work with, and we do brand strategy, are typically clients that I call marketing skeptical. So Young, if I had to guess, and I agree it would be seen as a support service probably in your industry and still in even many others, if I had to guess, you would be skeptical as to how marketing or branding in particular might be a good value add for your business. Am I right? You're an engineer, am I right?
Nope.
You are a technical person, am I right? No, that's it.
The reason they hired me was because I was not an engineer. They had so many engineers in the company that didn't want another engineer.
So what's your, I'm just curious.
I'm business development manager.
Okay, business development.
But I'm very much involved in marketing because I
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah, well, that was business development manager would be. But what Young has said, and I've seen this in a lot of organizations, so think about your own. If you have a strong engineering culture, if you have a strong R&D or technical culture, typically marketing is not seen as something that can really boost the, again, I like to say the underlying value, increase business success. And in the consultancy, we work best with companies that don't think marketing is important, because we're able to demonstrate that it impacts how you generate revenue streams, it impacts the premiums you can provide, and it impacts the loyalty you have with your customer as well. So let's go around the room real quick. I've met people in banking. Who's in the banking area? I know there's one, two. Chemicals, or might call industrial products. Yeah, there was several of you there as well. Any fast-moving consumer goods, consumer packaged goods? I didn't meet anyone, but there's one back here. Which company? Would I know you? Or Procter & Gamble, Unilever?
Motorcycle.
Moby. What do they do?
They doing it's for the car, save all your valuable goods. So laptops, etc.
I got you. Okay, very good. Well, what I find in working with a range of companies is the same types of principles would apply. So while many of you are from very diverse industries, and I think we're very senior in our careers, and as you said, in the past I had sales and marketing, but I moved on to maybe more business leadership types of positions. I find that branding, in fact, if I had to ask you to define branding, who might offer a definition, or something that comes to mind when you think of brand? Who owns their own company? Good, a lot of you. I like that. Well done. Now the question is, who here feels they are, for those that had their hands raised, who here feels you are the most important brand ambassador of the organization? Tell me why, sir. How do you, tell me how you manage your brand, communicate your brand, develop your brand, and invest in your brand? I'm curious.
I do most of the selling myself.
Okay, so Personal relationships. What type of industry?
Professional services, marketing.
Marketing. There we go.
I all the time.
Do you find strong uptake here in Spain for marketing types of services, particularly in what you call you say professional services, but it's not like PwC in professional services.
No, it's a professional services firm, and we do marketing services.
Marketing services. And how is business these days?
It's fantastic.
Oh, that's
No, I cannot complain.
okay. Yeah, given the current environment. Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah, again, I'm well aware. I mean, the U.S. environment. Again, I live in the United States, although I'm an Australian citizen, and I do a lot of global teaching around the world, being a Thunderbird professor. The United States economy is not in good shape, but the situation here in Spain is clearly more challenging for a collection of reasons. But I would say, even in this current economy, if you can position the ideas right about what brand can do for your organization, you have the ability, I think, to move above other organizations that are cutting budgets. Who here has cut their marketing budget in the last 2, 3, 4 years, or has seen the marketing budget be cut in their own organization? Yeah, there's UBS back there. Yeah, and it's typically the first expense to go, is it? Why would that be? Well, it's a support. Where's my support service? There it is. It's seen as a support service. You know, I use the analogy of marketing is like exercise. If I don't exercise for a week, am I going to necessarily see it? Probably not, no. Maybe a month, 2 months. But if I cut it now, we'll be able to maintain, because it's not seen as an essential brand or business building activity. But the work I do, and with the clients that I work with, I have the ability to demonstrate, depending on the industry, of course, what an overall boost could be if they invested properly in their brand. Now, I'm not talking about an advertising campaign or rearranging your logo. I'm talking about communicating your specific value proposition. How do you create value for your clients in a way that is relevant and compelling and different from each of your other competitors? That's essentially it. And so many companies we work with, particularly ones that are marketing skeptical, have not paid much attention to really trying to articulate the right message. A second point, and what's the name of your robotic? I'm fascinated by the robotics company.
Bell Robotics.
What is it?
Bell Robotics.
Bell Robotics. And if any of you care to, you can, if you do a Google search on a term that my colleague and myself coined or created, it's called an accidental brand. And we find in a lot of high-tech industries, we find a lot of medical device or engineering-focused firms, they've actually created a brand and they don't know it. They've actually invested in a brand and they don't know it. And they think that it's the technical capabilities of their R&D teams, their manufacturing, that can actually separate them and make them different, better, and special compared to their competitors. So let me ask a question. Again, I like getting participation, a show of hands. Who here has been in their industry at least 10 years? Most of you, I would imagine, right? Meaning I haven't switched industries. I know my industry very well. Think back 10 years, maybe even 15, and think about your competitors. In other words, those other companies that ruin your